Do not obey. Zombie talk. I've seen some things you cannot explain. What's up, guys? It's me, Do Not Obey, and let's get into another video. Now we're down in New Orleans, deep down in the South. I've heard a lot of stories, scary, horrific, just things that I don't even know if I would believe myself, but I do believe they're true. So check out some of these stories and let me know what you guys think. And like I always say, do not obey. Stay woke. Peace. First story we're going to start with, I'm going to call The Shuffle.
I'm going to tell y'all mine. So recently we took a trip to New Orleans, which we go all the time. I'm from Mississippi, so that's like going around the corner for us. So we were on Bourbon Street and we were just walking, minding our business. And you know how you just get distracted. I knew we shouldn't be down there, but we make it to the end of Bourbon Street. It's like time slowed all the way down, and it was already eerie. I don't know if it was because it was Easter, but it's just like it got real weird real fast. So this is not funny, but I realized we were there, and there was this mental person. He came like right up behind us. Like, why would you be scared of a mental person? But it was them, like him talking to himself, coupled with the chill, and just it was like a few people at the end of the street. And so I looked at my fiance, and we both were like, nah, let's turn around. And all I could do was hear my family like saying, never go down there. People would be like, oh, don't go down there because that's where the gay people are. Gay people are not going to bother you. There's something supernatural going on. And I wasn't scared because like I'm a pretty like spiritually protected person, so that wasn't the problem. But when you know you need to get up out of somewhere, like I felt the angels and God being like, turn your ass around. Because I've heard people getting cart shuffled really bad at the end of Bourbon Street. But I done got shuffled on Bourbon Street, but it wasn't that big of a deal because it wasn't life threatening. It was just a building that was there, and then it wasn't there anymore. So much happened. This time we went to Bourbon Street on a Friday night, and we got there about 9:30. So I was able to see a few of the landmarks that you all were leaving in my comments, the way Bourbon Street usually should look. I saw the man with the cats, saw the man with the beads, saw all of the tarot card readers and things like that. So everything was normal when we first got there. Now this is 9:30. So we are walking and we reach the point that we made it to back in April, where I told y'all it felt like time had slowed all the way down. So the point that we made it to after doing some research is considered the Velvet Line or the Lavender Line. So that's just supposed to be a marker for the LGBTQ area. So in April, I don't understand why the end was like right there, because usually the end is supposed to start after the LGBTQ area. Now, this ain't the place for you to be homophobic. That ain't what we're talking about. We are talking about the supernatural phenomenon of card shuffling in the end of Bourbon Street. So if that's what you own, find you somewhere else to go, because that's not what this is about. But anyway, back in April, the end for us was what people consider the Lavender Line on St. Anne Street. I also got confirmation that the building that we saw back in April was not Oz, because remember I told y'all I looked up Oz and that wasn't the building. And then when we went back over the weekend, I looked at the building. The building that we saw in April wasn't Oz. That just, I don't know what that was, but that wasn't it. We stopped and my fiance got a cigar, and we didn't go towards the end where the end is supposed to be, just because I'm not trying to fuck around and find anything out. If you want to go, just make sure you don't go past the bars. So I'm not trying to find it out. So we start walking back up Bourbon Street. So this is where everything gets weird. We stopped so he could smoke his cigar, and we were standing under one of the galleries. So we're just standing there minding our business, and then it happened to be around 11 o'clock. Now, last time the shuffle happened for me around 11 o'clock too. This time was different. This time, I felt the wind like pass through my body. Jesus Christ. Felt the wind pass through my body. And then I audibly heard like a shuffle of cars. I wish I could like insert the sound so y'all can hear what I mean. At that point, I knew it had happened again. So I just turned around and was like, God, not again. Not again. So I ain't say anything. We just started walking back up the street after it happened. And I have a couple theories about the time. So I believe it's going to happen at least like every 2 hours, because for me, it's at 11 o'clock. For other people, I've heard 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Now, if it's happened for you at a different time period, go ahead, tell me in the comments. But for us, it happened at 11 o'clock. As we continue back up the street, I look to my right and I noticed that there's a building that we had been looking for while we walked down the street, but it wasn't there. So I'm just like, is it on like some room or requirement type shit? Is it just opening up when it like gets ready to, or does it have something to do with the time? I don't know, but me and my fiance was like, what the fuck, that wasn't there. Because we're looking around, we're looking at all the different stuff that's there, and it just wasn't there. And I was like, I don't have time for that. So we didn't go inside the building this time. Not too much on the building, because I'm still trying to do a little research about it, see if I can figure anything out. I want to preface the rest of the story by saying, like, it's nothing to be scared of. I know some people were asking me, like, why wasn't I scared? Because buildings were appearing and disappearing. I don't know, it just seems like, I don't know if it's like the more people will notice it, the more you become in tune with yourself and the way the world works or whatever. But for me this time, it was a little overwhelming.
This story, I'm gonna name it, Do You Really Want to Visit? And Are You Really Prepared?
Why they can't get back home, and things just add up and add up. Some people has visited the city of New Orleans and left in an unalive bag. You know what I'm saying? It's just not a great place to visit, and I will tell you, you need to be prayed up before you come down here. You need to be fully prayed up, or you need to be fully into your spiritual side to where you can see these things if you're coming down here. It's not a game, y'all. This is not to scare anybody from coming down here. Now, New Orleans is a great city to visit if you're in a culture and you know how to handle yourself and you know how to say enough is enough with the low vibrational activities, and you keep things to, a moderate, keep things, don't be being glutton. You know what I'm saying? Even though I know the city encourages that, you know what I'm saying? They like to tell y'all, oh, just come down here and get drunk and all of that. But what do you do when you get drunk? You make stupid decisions. You know what I'm saying? You get wound up in situations that you would never put yourself in if you was at home. And a lot of these people get stuck down here, man, and it's sad. You know what I'm saying? I'm just telling y'all, man, I watch people come down here and turn into monsters. Some would say turned into something that they never would have turned into had they would have never visited. Some people wish they never came to the city of New Orleans. They would have never been in the positions that they're in now. So I'm not going to make this video super long. You know what I'm saying? People with attention spans are already short. So just, break it down in bullet points, what I said. And, don't get caught up, man.
Well, all right, let's keep this monster train spiritual reality a rolling. This next video is soul swapping. It does exist. Check it out.
When visiting New Orleans, I told y'all once and I'm gonna tell y'all again, please be very mindful, especially downtown on Bourbon, the French Quarters, and all these popular tourist attractions. Okay, think it's a game. So recently there's this video of this man downtown enjoying, and it's this older guy that come up to him and he's basically like trying to make him tap his elbow, y'all. And I'm talking about they're literally directly in front of each other, like elbow to elbow. Like the old man could have easily did it himself, but no, he insisted that the man do it. And a lot of people believe that he was trying to do a destiny swap with him. And y'all think it's all fun and cute because, you're out having a good time, you're drinking, and for the most part, People are intoxicated when they're downtown, so that's why it's so easy for other people to basically take advantage of you while you're down there. This place is very spiritual, and this stuff gets very deep. Now, I'm not saying that everybody in NOLA that does voodoo or practice this type of magic are evil and do it for evil intentions, but there are people that do it for evil intentions. I even seen this video of this Caucasian boy that went downtown and he was talking to this voodoo practitioner, and she took a piece of his hair and he was just kiki and thought it was just so funny. Okay, it ain't gonna be funny when you wake up a frog for real. But like, all jokes aside, y'all, the energy in New Orleans is very heavy. And some people aren't that spiritual, and some people can't see these things. Some people can literally feel it. But I'm telling y'all, it gets real. And it's not just like this just in New Orleans. It's like that in Savannah, Georgia too. I used to live down there, and I'm telling y'all, you can feel the energy downtown.
Well, this place is very beautiful, but it has some strange kids.
Say, look, now let me tell you about the haunted Bourbon Orleans Hotel, which is located right there between Royal Street and Bourbon Street.
Find me a hotel in New Orleans that isn't haunted and I'd be shocked. It was a really hard choice when I was planning the trip for us to decide which place to stay, because every hotel has a rich history, even richer legends of paranormal activity, and it's just beautiful. And the place we ultimately landed on was the Bourbon Orleans in the heart of the French Quarter.
Where the whole attack happened at? Yeah. And they say that area is the portal between heaven and hell in the French Quarters. Now, in the beginning, the hotel wasn't built to be a hotel at first. It was built to be a theater.
It's a beautiful hotel with a classic New Orleans look, located right in the middle of everything you want to see if you're really looking to explore the French Quarter. And it has several resident spirits.
And it was called Theater Orleans. And it was constructed around 1812. And it was finished around 1815. And it was architecturally built in a French Provençal style. Pretty, yeah. The theater was so beautiful, it was said that to rival one of the most best opera houses in Europe at the time. But you know how faith and karma is and how spiritual shit get. The theater burned down through arson and fire. Now, I'm gonna do a whole nother video on how that even happened, but let me get into why it's even haunted right quick. Now, they say the hotel is so haunted over there that the employees and the people that work there just simply embrace the dead over there and the spirits and the ghosts that they see. So spending the night over there is more than just some tourist shit. You actually get into a personal relationship with the dead over there. And the history is so mysterious over there, it's hard to say who you really might run into. That's why I say I gotta do a whole nother video on all the type of ghost stories that done happen over there. But let me tell you one right quick. Now, the ghost children of the hotel, room 644, and if you from the city, you know about room 644 over there on Bourbon, at that Bourbon Orleans Hotel. Now, the yellow fever disease swept through the city around the early 19th century. And the nuns or the sisters of the Holy Family, they took care of the sick orphans. Now, they say when some of them kids died, some of them kids didn't get the proper burial. So they ghosts and they spirits still haunt the hotel. So they say all the little hotel laughters that you hear throughout the hallway, that's the little children.
Well, I'm going to name this next story The Portal, because they walked and walked with sober minds. What do you guys think?
The street was packed, like to the point where you could barely walk down the street. We didn't even drink this particular night. We didn't have nothing to drink at all. We were very sober. We just kept on walking. We just honestly kept on walking. We really just got caught up in the moment, just looking around, seeing people talk, do crazy stuff, and we just kept walking. And I kid you not, the further we kept walking, it's like Bourbon Street got darker, darker, and darker. Of course, there was no businesses open where we were. That's how far we got down. No bars were open. It's like the street got quieter and quieter. We could turn around and we can still see people down Bourbon Street still. So we knew that we didn't go off. We know that we didn't go off too far, and we got to a point of Bourbon Street where there was it felt like the end, but we could still see the other side of Bourbon Street, if that makes any sense. but we were way past the crowd. There was really no one where we were. There was no businesses open, there was no bars open. We were just going. And we get to a certain point where we just all stopped talking with each other. We just got quiet. I don't know. We just stopped talking and we just started walking. It's like something caught our attention to the point where we were just silent, and we continued walking down Bourbon Street. We kind of looking at each other, all kind of confused, like, like we don't turn around. Like, why are we still walking? And we got all the way down to this part of the street where there was a lady sitting. It was a lady sitting in a chair. She was dressed in all black. You couldn't see nothing on her. She didn't flinch. She didn't look our way when she saw us. She didn't do none of that. She sat there still like a statue. And next to her was a small stool. And it looked like it was some of her belongings that was in a black bag as well. She didn't say nothing. We all paused in our tracks. We looked at each other. And we was like, I said, let's turn around. Let's go back up towards Bourbon Street. The only thing that was really well lit that night was a lamp pole that had a lantern on it with the fire going. That was the only thing that was well lit. The rest of the street got extremely dark. It's like the air got heavy. It felt like there was pressure on us, honestly. Like, once we all talked about it later, it felt like there was pressure on us, and I can't even explain how it felt. Like, it just was a very eerie feeling.
Okay, well, this next story we're gonna call 7 Days.
Still to this day, I believe that my husband was voodoo when we was in New Orleans. So me and him went to New Orleans a few years back, and we was on Bourbon Street, and an incident occurred. But before I tell y'all incident, let me just tell y'all what was going on throughout that night. So as we was walking, we saw a lot of things, women topless, it was just things that people say that goes on in New Orleans, but then you get to experience it for yourself. So that particular night, we were out there drinking, and when I tell y'all, I have never been so intoxicated like that night. Well, I'll take that back, because I have been pretty intoxicated before. But so this woman comes up to my husband, well, my boyfriend at the time, and she was forcing the drinks. Like, they'll come and make you open your mouth and like just chug the drinks with their mouth. And I was just like, oh my goodness, I see and hear about this all the time. And then after that, she demanded like $40. She was like, $40. And my husband was like, first of all, you shoved that drink down my throat, blah, blah, blah. So we're not going to go into all that. But this is the scary part. Well, I won't say scary, but this is where it gets evil, okay? And they say all different type of things about New Orleans. They say that it's deeply ritual into witchcraft, voodoo, hoodooism, all those type of things. She was like, you stay out of it. She said, I want your man. I want him. And she was pointing at him, and I was just like, look, let me just pay for it. This will just all be gone away, okay? Well, my husband was still upset at that time, so he was just like, no. So when we was walking away, my husband turned around and looked at the woman, because the woman was like kind of had this hideous laugh, but she was still angry and mad. And he was like, she just did something like this. Like, it was like 2 fingers, and it was like this. And she was just like looking at him, shaking her head. Now, I'm not sure what could have happened. I'm really not sure what, is that a spell or what? But I promise you, at 3 o'clock that morning, he was throwing up sick, and he stopped throwing up 7 days later. He was throwing up the whole way home back to Mississippi, and he was not able to keep nothing down. He was just throwing up repeatedly. I took him to different hospitals. They was just like, nothing is wrong, and they will give him IV drips, and he'll be okay with the fluid. But soon as they took the IV out, he was just back. Blah, blah. I'm talking about, he was just throwing up so much. Make a long story short, it was literally 7 days after he stopped finished throwing up.
Story will always remind you that everything comes with a price.
Tell you this story. Now I need y'all to listen to this. So I've been in New Orleans a lot of times. So this is my first experience down there I can remember. So I went to New Orleans for an event, and I was walking. And usually I don't walk by myself, but then I just said, look, I'm old enough to walk. I know what I'm doing. So I'm walking, and put in mind, I know the streets of New Orleans. This is the first time I've been out by myself. I find myself walking, and I'm not understanding why I'm walking. Like, I know where I'm going. I'm trying to go to Cafe Du Monde. Somehow I end up, and I see grave sites. I have no clue why I've ended up there, how I got there. It is a long way from my hotel. Now, I knew where I was going, y'all. I really did. I see people walking the other way, so I'm on this side of the street, and this guy was like, baby, you might not want to walk that way. I see the graveyard, and I'm like, man, I'm in a ward. Okay. So I'm feeling like, okay, as I go close, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't hear. I hear the guy screaming, hey, come this way. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't listen to this man telling me to come this way. But something about me keep walking, I didn't understand. He kept distracting me. So I walked on. I get to the end of the street. There is no man there. There is absolutely no man there. So I get back, and I look, and I'm in a street full of people. I see no man. Okay? Somehow I end up on a main street I see people, I'm walking, and I'm in the French Quarter, and I have no clue. I sit there and I think about it, like, why would I even go to a graveyard? Why would I even venture off my path knowing it's New Orleans? I know it's dangerous. So this is why I'm telling you, like, you do not know. Don't go out there by yourselves. Don't go alone. Now, I've never seen this man again, and I barely saw his face. It was a shadow. And he kept saying, come this way, ma'am. You don't need to go that way. When I go to New Orleans, I have on my rosary beads. I really do. And they have been blessed by the priest, and I put them on. Most times when I'm walking the street, I want to be protected. Y'all have to be careful out there. Y'all see these palm readers asking how to read y'all palm for free? Baby, some of that stuff ain't free. Do not let these people touch you. I am telling y'all this so y'all own good. Some people have come back saying, oh, all this stuff happened after I went to New Orleans. Yeah, but what did you do? See, y'all messing with things y'all don't know. Y'all want to go to voodoo shops. Y'all want to see Mary Laveau's grave. Y'all want to go to these things. But guess what? The spirit world is real too down here. They're like, well, I don't believe in it, so it won't happen to me. Yeah, because something in a movie told you if you didn't believe in it, it couldn't affect you. A movie? Are you serious? I'm not saying we all don't practice voodoo out here. We really don't. But you gotta be careful. Some of these people's spirits ain't right. And y'all out here going to these people. I have seen people say, well, I'm gonna go out here and let them see what they can do for me. I'm gonna tell y'all this, and I'm gonna warn y'all about this. Everything come with a price, my babies.
Well, this next video is about making eye contact. Be very careful.
Hey, my beautiful people. This comment right here, when I seen this, I said, it sent me. It really did. This is why in New Orleans, I try not to make eye contact. It's people walking around knowing they've passed away but have physical bodies. When I tell y'all, whoever wrote this, they're not lying. They're not lying at all. Let me tell you, when the first time that I went to New Orleans, what I noticed. So the first thing that we did was went to Marie Laveau's grave to do the tour. There was a young lady there. My husband actually pointed this young lady out. I don't know what made him point her out, but he did. Didn't think nothing about it. Now, mind you, when I went to Marie Laveau's grave, and this is before me and Marie Laveau got close, when I went to the tour, I couldn't stay in there. I was probably in there for 5 minutes before I felt like I was going to pass out. I had to leave out. We stayed, I think, 3 days. That was our first day. The woman that my husband pointed out, we saw her at least 5 more times. in different locations that weren't in close proximity to each other. I saw her, my husband saw her, my 3 kids that was with me saw her. We saw her at a restaurant that wasn't near New Orleans, it was in the outskirts. And the other times we saw her walking different streets, Bourbon streets, the French Quarter, just different streets, at least 5 times. I knew something was up, so I'm here to tell you that comment, very true.
Well, think about it. Sometimes they need permission, and they have no reflection. Enjoy.
I'm gonna tell y'all ain't gonna wanna believe me. So I'm gonna tell y'all. Okay, so boom, y'all. I was invited to a girls trip / birthday trip / whatever the fuck you wanna call it, to New Orleans in September. Mind y'all, it was still Pride Month in September. So we went, we had a good old time or whatever. But what we didn't know is that the French Quarters was right there on Bourbon Street. Okay, so boom, when we get there, you can already tell like the atmosphere in New Orleans is different from coming from Atlanta type shit, right? So when we get there, you know, we all turned up, we all lit, we all having a good time or whatever. Not even knowing that when we got there in the middle of a fucking hurricane. So when we got there, we got to our hotel, the French Quarters Hotel. Y'all keep that in mind, the French Quarters Hotel. So when I got my room key, I unsettled and I went to go see my mama. While I went to go see my mama, I went inside the elevator. These 2 people came in the elevator, right? Mind y'all, I'm on my phone. I'm not even paying no attention to them. And it's a big ass mirror inside the elevator, right? So boom. Mind y'all, they had said, can we come in? I think that's what they said or something like that in the mix. And I'm thinking to myself, this is an elevator. Why are you asking me if you can come in? Walk your motherfucking ass in the goddamn elevator. The fuck? So like I said, I'm not paying them no mind. After they said that, I'm back on my phone and I'm not even paying no attention to them. And like I said, it was a mirror inside the elevator. So mind you, I look up after being on my phone and I don't see no reflection of the 2 people that just came in the elevator. So I'm still drunk, right? I'm toe up from the floor up. Me and Scoop toe up to the floor, y'all. But I'm still in my right mind and space. So I look up again, and then I look to the right. They there. But I look in the mirror, they not there. So I'm like, what the f***? Y'all, when I tell y'all, when they had reached my mom floor, I got out that fucking elevator so goddamn fast. I zooted out that bitch.
Up next, we have Over There in the Corner.
We booked a hotel at the DoubleTree there. And when we got there, we checked into our hotel room. When I tell you guys, when we got to our hotel room and as soon as we opened that door, my ex-wife and I started feeling this heavy feeling. But the energy was so heavy in that room, you guys. I told my ex-wife, I was like, look, we can go to, a whole nother hotel if you want to. And she was just like, no, it's okay. It's fine. Let's just, it looks really nice. Let's just settle in. So since she wanted to stay, I was like, y'all, I could not take that shit. Like the energy, I'm shaking now talking about it. The energy was so thick, you can literally cut the shit with a knife. So I wasn't taking no chances. I prayed over the walls. I recited the book of Psalms 23. I literally channeled my inner ancestors, like when it came to that room, because I did not play. And the funny thing about it was once I was doing my little prayer work, touching every wall in that room, touching every wall, reciting, my ex-wife was like, I feel a little bit better now, right? So after all of that, we decided to stay. So later that night, y'all, we went to bed. I was actually in a state at that moment where I was like between worlds. I believe they call it lucid dreaming. So I was laying in my bed that night and I turned over and looked at one of the corners of the room, and y'all, I saw like an emaciated looking man or demon or whatever the hell it was with gray skin, no clothes on, with eyes as red as fire. And the crazy part about it was that in this dream state, I was able to sit up in my bed that night. And when I did, I looked at that thing. I just sat there and just looked at it and stared at it. But the crazy thing about this whole experience was that that entity in the corner of that room did not move. As a matter of fact, that thing was looking at me like it was afraid of me. When I tell you that thing was sitting in the corner of that room like this, I am dead ass serious, y'all. I swear I saw that thing and he was looking like that. He didn't come close to me, or it, or whatever it was. It didn't come close to me or nothing.